Hello students, welcome back to another class of Income Tax Law and Practice with me Adela Samuel, Head Department of Accounting and Finance, St. Anne's Arts and Science College, Madhavaram. So in today's class, the topic that we're going to deal is house rent allowance according to section 10, subsection 13. What is HRA, house rent allowance? It is an allowance given to meet the expenditure with respect to the rent paid by the employee. It's exempt as per the rule 2A. So any allowance that is given to an employee to pay his rent, then that is called as house rent allowance. It is going to be exempt according to the rule 2A. What is this rule 2A? HRA is exempt up to the least of the following. So there are three conditions given. Whichever is the lowest, that amount will be exempted from tax. So first condition is HRA or the actual allowance received by this person. So say for example, he is receiving 10,000 rupees as a rent allowance, house rent allowance. That is considered as the first case. Second case is if the house that he is living in is in Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta or Chennai, 50% of the salary is going to be exempt from tax. Or if he is going to be living in any other place other than these four given above, then in that case 40% of salary is going to be exempted from tax. The third case that is given is excess of rent paid over 10% of salary. That means how much ever rent you are paying for that year minus 10% of salary that is received by the person will be exempted from tax. So out of these three conditions, whichever is the least, whichever is the lowest will be exempted from tax. For this purpose, for calculating HRA, we need to remember salary. What is the meaning of the term salary for HRA purpose? So salary will be the basic salary plus the dearness allowance, DA, otherwise called as dearness allowance, plus any commission that he has received on the sales or the turnover that he has made. Apart from all the other allowances and perquisites, only these three should be considered: basic, DA and commission on sales. So add these three, that will be the salary for a person to calculate HRA. So with these conditions, we will be seeing a few sums. So we'll take the first sum under house rent allowance. Problem number 1. X resides in Chennai, gets rupees 60,000 per annum as basic salary. He receives rupees 10,000 per annum as house rent allowance. Rent paid by him is rupees 8,000 per annum. Find out the amount of taxable HRA for the assessment year 2020-21. So what are the three things that we know in this sum is he is getting a salary, basic salary of 60,000 for a year per annum. He receives 10,000 as house rent allowance. The allowance that he is receiving is 10,000. The rent that he is paying for the house he is living in is 8,000 per annum. And another point you need to remember is he is living in Chennai. So first we'll start calculating what is the salary of this person. So for HRA purpose, we said salary means basic plus DA plus commission on sales. So we know what is the basic given to him, 60,000. DA and commission is not given to you, so we need not calculate anything. So that will be 0. So 60,000 plus 0 is equal to 60,000. That is the salary for HRA calculation purpose. Now, how do you calculate the taxable HRA? So you'll have to draw 3 columns, particulars and 2 rupees columns. In this, first you will start off with actual HRA received. Actual amount of HRA received is 10,000 according to the sum. So that you will put in the outermost column. From that only you are going to minus whatever is going to be exempted. So according to section 13A, rule 2A, what is the condition given? Number 1 is actual amount received. So in the inner column, you will write actual amount received is 10,000. Second condition is that if he is living in Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta and Madras, he is going to be exempted for, about 50% of his salary. So 50% of what is the salary that we have calculated? 60,000. So 50% of 60,000 is 30,000. That is the second condition. Suppose he was living in some other city, not in Chennai, then we will take 40% of salary. Third condition that is given is rent paid minus 10% of salary. So what is the rent paid by this person? 8,000 per annum minus 10% of 60,000, that is the salary that we have taken. So 10% of 60,000. So 8,000 minus 6,000 is 2,000. So out of these three conditions, which is the least? 10,000 or 30,000 or 2,000? 2,000 is the least. That amount will be exempted as HRA exemption. So take 2,000 to the outer column. So from the actual HRA 10,000 minus 2,000, you will get the taxable HRA as 8,000. Problem number 2. Mr. W resides in Madurai. He receives a salary of rupees 1,60,000 per annum as basic. In addition, he receives 30,000 per annum as DA. Within brackets, it is given 60% forming part of salary. 10% commission on sales made by him. Sales made by him is 1 lakh. He receives rupees 25,000 per annum as HRA. He, however, pays a house rent of rupees 21,000 per annum. Determine house rent allowance for tax. So what are the things that you know? First, you know that he is living in Madurai. So it is not in the 50% condition. It has to be in the 40% condition. Second thing you know is he is receiving a salary of 1,60,000 as basic, 30,000 as DA. Out of this 30,000, 60% forming part of salary. That means only 60% of this 30,000 is as part of salary. So 60% into 30,000 only is DA for salary purpose, that we need to remember when we are calculating salary. Then they say 10% commission on sales made by him. So what is the sales actually made by him is 1 lakh, out of which 10% is the commission that is given to him. So 10% of 1 lakh is 10,000 is given to him as commission. So when we start off doing the salary calculation, basic plus DA plus commission on sale. So what is the basic? 1,60,000 plus 30,000 into 60%, which is forming part of the salary, plus 1 lakh into 10% that he is receiving as commission. So together you will get 1,88,000. So this is your salary for HR purpose. Now we draw up the columns. So in the first particulars, 2 rupees columns. So first item that you put in the column is actual HRA received. This is the way you start it off. So very first thing that you put in the column is actual HRA received. So how much you're receiving as actual HRA according to the sum? 25,000 per annum. So put it in the outer column. Now we are going to see what are the exemptions that is given. So according to rule 2A, there are 3 exemptions. First one is actual amount received. Again, actual amount received is going to be 25,000. Second one is 50% of salary or 40% of salary depending on the place. So now we know that he is living in Madurai. So 40% of salary will be taken. 40% of salary here is a 1,88,000 into 40%. That is 75,200. The third condition given is rent paid minus 10% of salary. What is the rent paid? 21,000 per annum minus 10% of 1,88,000. That will be 18,800. So 21,000 minus 18,800 is 2,200. So out of these three conditions, 25,000, 75,200 and 2,200, which is the least? Obviously 2,200 is the least. So you take that to the outer column. From the actual amount received 25,000, the exempted amount that we have found out is 2,200, minus that you will get 22,800. This is going to be your taxable HRA. Problem number 3. Kamal, an employee in a limited company in Ambur, receives rupees 63,000 per annum as basic salary. He stays in his father's house up to 31/10/2019, for which he does not pay any rent. And thereafter, he takes an accommodation on a monthly rent of rupees 30,000. The company pays rupees 18,750 per annum as HRA throughout the year. Find the taxable HRA for the previous year 2019-20. So from this sum, what do we learn? One is he is living in Ambur and he is getting a basic salary of 63,000 per month. But the problem is he is staying in his father's house up to 31/10/2019. That means from 1st of April 2019 till 31st of October 2019, he is not paying rent. So for the remaining months only, we are supposed to be calculating how much he will get exemption. So, and the rent that he's paying for the remaining months is rupees 30,000, monthly rent of 30,000. The company is actually paying him a house rent allowance throughout the year. So for the entire year, he is receiving 18,750 per month for the entire year. So that we need to take care when we are calculating HRA. Okay, how are we going to solve this sum? So first we'll start off with salary calculation, basic plus DA plus commission on sales. So that is 63,000 plus the other two we do not know, which is not given in the sum. So we just take 63,000 per month. Now calculating the HRA, for the first 7 months, that is from April to October, he is not staying in any rented house. So from April, May, June, July, August, September and October, 7 months, the amount that he is receiving as house rent allowance is still received by him. Therefore, that amount has to be taxed. So 18,750 into 7 months is going to be taxed. So you take it to the outer column, which is 1,31,250. Now coming to the next 5 months where he is actually staying in a rented house and he is paying a rent. So that starts from 1st of November. So November, December, January, February, March. Till March 31st, our year is over, financial year is over. So for the next 5 months, we are going to calculate the exemption on HRA. Actual HRA received for 5 months is going to be 18,750 into 5. So that is 93,750. We take it to the outer column. From this 93,750, we have to find out what is the exempted amount according to section 2A, rule 2A. For just 5 months, we are supposed to be calculating this rule. So actual amount received is 93,750, which is the first condition. Second condition is 40 or 50% of salary depending on the place. So we know he is living in Ambur, so 40% of salary is taken. So 63,000 per month into 5 months only we are supposed to calculate. Into 5 into 40% we are taking. So that is going to be 1,26,000. Third condition is rent paid minus 10% of salary. So now rent paid again for 5 months is 30,000 per month into 5 minus 10% of salary. We know 63,000 is for per month and we are calculating here only for 5 months. So 63,000 into 5, 10% on that is supposed to be taken here. So that comes up to 1,18,500. So 3 conditions we've received. Which is the least of the following? 93,750 is the least. So you take that to the second column. So 93,750 minus 93,750, the exempted amount is going to be 0. The taxable amount is going to be 0. So you take that to the outer column. For first 7 months, it is 1,31,250, which is fully taxable. For the next 5 months, nothing is going to be taxable because everything is exempted. So nil is taxable. So the end taxable amount for a year for this person is going to be 1,31,250. This is how you're supposed to be calculating house rent allowance taxation. So thank you students. I hope you have understood all these three different sums that we have done. Usually it might be asked for a 5-mark question if it is asked alone to be calculated as HRA, or sometimes in a full-fledged 20-mark, 10-mark sum, this will be a part of the sum. So you need to know how to calculate house rent allowance. Please work out the sums on your own. I will also be sending a few more sums for you to work out on your own. Unless you practice, you will not get the hang of it. So please keep practicing more sums like this so that you will understand it very clearly. If you have any doubts, please do get back to me anytime. Thank you, students.